Hi, everybody.
It's complicated.
Hi, everybody. It's Ryan Ritchie from the DigitalLifestyle.tv. This is TDL Live.
Where's the audience?
They left. They had to watch the biathlon this evening, so they're not here. It is Monday, February 22nd, 2010. The Olympics are underway. Why don't you go watch the Olympics?
Should we touch on the Olympics?
Jamie DeGrazia, Ryan Ritchie. Yes, go ahead.
My take on the Olympics is, and I think this has been proven statistically, that the only people who watch the Olympics really are women. And that they don't necessarily watch sports normally, but for some reason when you group a bunch of sports together that no one typically cares about, but you put them all together, and you tell everyone they should care about them, then they watch.
Well, here's my theory. My theory is that because these sports are a little more obscure, maybe it's not as threatening. Because as a male, you're not there like, oh, Anderson blew it in curling last year. Ah, you know? You don't know the rules either.
Yeah, like you can't explain, like they're not saying, what's a fourth down?
Right, exactly, exactly. So anyhow, maybe that's part of the allure. Anyhow, I did watch a little bit over the weekend. That was really my first viewing. I saw some hockey and the biathlon. They ski and shoot. Because you never know, and you might need to ski.
You just watch for you're looking for like an accident to happen, some blood to flow.
The ice skating wardrobe malfunction that never comes. Yes. I like the Winter Olympics more than the Summer Olympics. Because to me, the Summer Olympics are all things I could do, but these people are much better at them.
Yeah.
But the Winter Olympics, these are exotic things. I don't have a bobsled. I don't know if you knew that.
But you went sledding.
I did.
Isn't it kind of silly that people are winning gold medals for sledding?
I went sledding near your neck of the woods, and didn't have a sled. But
what, a trash bag?
Well, I went looking around and nobody was selling them, and then I thought, well, we better make sure there's actually snow still because it's been warmer here in the Northeast, and there was snow, along with shrapnel from other sleds. So I got the bright idea. Well, I'll just slide down on that half a piece of sled.
Yeah,
and I had not well. I had to lean back. I think I broke the tailbone, but it's all right. I can't bend over.
I don't sled.
You don't sled? No. Okay, fair enough. Believe it or not, the show is not about Olympics. We've got tech news. It's all jumbled up on some recycled paper, Earth First, One Earth, and then we read it in a random fashion, and some of it will be interesting. Hopefully more than isn't.
Okay, should we just jump right in? Jump right in this bowl here. Wasn't here last week, so.
Oh, that's right.
Just kind of getting.
You might have forgotten how it works. This is a little dated here.
Yes, this is from 2 weeks ago. So Aperture 3 came out last week? Last week. That was the big news of last week. Your thoughts?
iPhoto on Aperture. It's some of the features you have with iPhoto now on Aperture. Frankly, maybe they should have been there all along.
Yep.
Maybe this indicates maybe more of the pro apps are going to look more like the consumer apps. They better not make Final Cut like iMovie. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
So here we go. Be nice if there's a little. It doesn't matter. Anyhow, don't forget you can talk to us via iChat or AOL Instant Messenger at TDL Live. And because I took so much loving care with it, let's go ahead and put that on the screen. See, this is.
Should I
boom?
kill some time?
No, we're good. We're good. Jailbroken iPhones are borked? Can we say that?
That's what I hear.
I'm going to pass this. That's yours.
So this was another leftover from last week. So there was a report circulating last week that people who have unlocked their iPhones, jailbroken their iPhones, were receiving a message when I guess they were trying to sign into like the App Store saying their Apple ID had been banned for security reasons. Now it looks like there was a couple users on Twitter have been posting this, and I don't know if they've really gotten to the bottom if this is legit or if this was like an isolated case. It's kind of a little bit scary because I guess some people were saying, well, Apple can cut that back on piracy, app piracy, and I guess there is a certain amount of app piracy with jailbroken phones. But a lot of people just jailbreak their phones just so they can use them on T-Mobile, other networks.
And it's interesting because
something I've been thinking about doing.
These phones, this error is coming up when you're doing what? When you're just on the phone or when you're trying to connect to iTunes?
I think if you're connecting to iTunes or the App Store. Yeah.
So that would indicate you're trying to do something legitimate with it. So what if you jailbroke your phone and then you realized, you know what? Kids are dying because I jailbroke. This is the most terrible thing I could have done.
Yeah.
Father Jobs, forgive me. You can't go back to iTunes.
I mean, if you're, do they care if they're still getting money from from iTunes, right? So hopefully it's not the case. Hopefully.
I don't know. I'm moving on. The folks at Nuance, I noticed this at Macworld, and my bad for not breaking this story. Nuance has required Max Speech. Nuance is the company behind Naturally Speaking. Max Speech makes Max Speech and Max Speech Dictate. So if you're, and it's $200. I had no idea it was still that much. Makes the free iPhone app look like a bargain, which works really well, by the way. But you can only do like 20 seconds or something like that.
You can speak into the iPhone, and
it goes and it translates it, and it comes back, and it's crazy because the app isn't actually on the phone. It sends it to their server, and it comes back. It's near instantaneous.
Pretty cool.
So compared to $200, but I would like to review this. I forgot to talk to them at Macworld. And I did a whole Macworld recap last week, but I'll take questions from the co-hosts if anybody has anything.
I'm all Macworlded out.
Okay, we're moving on. No, we don't look back here.
Although some of this news, we are looking back.
I think we're out of oldies.
So while you were gone, you were out there in sunny San Francisco.
Surfing.
Hanging out, drinking, I don't know, what do they drink out there?
Tea.
Google Buzz.
Kevin Rose and I were enjoying tea together. Yeah.
So while you were out there, Google Buzz invaded everybody's life.
Yeah, I completely missed this. I couldn't be happier.
So I mean, now a week later, it looks like they've changed some things about Google Buzz. But I heard about this Google Buzz. I was laying in bed, fired up the iPhone, connected to Google Buzz, and next thing I know, there's like 100 people within like a mile radius of me. Suddenly know my location, and like I'm seeing these messages or just like conversation threads from strangers. It was very, very weird. So I quickly just deleted that. Now you can turn off Google Buzz. I guess they fixed some of these security problems, but it looks like for at least a short period, basically everybody could see
everything.
Everything. Who you're friends with, who you were following. It was kind of shady.
So what is the value of it? I mean, do you see
the weird thing, when I was laying in bed, I'm looking at these people, and they seem to be more than happy to not only give their location, but also just to talk to random strangers. And I just thought, do you need to tell the world every little... Is there nothing private anymore? Do you need to tell the world now where you live, complete strangers, the street that you're on, and what you're doing at that moment?
And along those lines, I have a Facebook announcement a little later in the show. We'll talk about privacy and so forth.
But it looks like Google has changed some things to make it a little more secure. You can turn off Buzz, disable it completely, opt out.
So is it just, you have to turn it on, right? Because I use a lot of Google services, and I haven't done anything with it yet. So I don't want everybody else knowing what I'm doing.
You don't want to talk about your Facebook right now?
No, we'll save
that.
We'll save it for later. I don't want people looking it up right now. I want to distract them. Let's talk about the Green Hornet, though. I understand that.
The Green Hornet. What about the Green Hornet?
I understand there's a movie. There's a Green Hornet movie. Can you help me out with this?
The only thing I know about the Green Hornet is when I was a kid watching the old 60s Adam West Batman live action show. In reruns, obviously. I'm not that old.
Look at this, of course.
That there was a couple episodes where the Green Hornet was on there. Bruce Lee was actually Kato, and they tried to spin that off. You didn't know this. Tried to spin that off into its own series. And it was very much like the 60s Batman live action show. That's all I know about the Green Hornet. I guess they're making a movie. I don't know. Kevin Smith might have wrote it, or maybe he wrote a version of it.
He's written a version of everything.
I don't know. I'm not terribly excited about it.
Anyhow, I'm told we should slide this way a little bit. So let's just...
Is there anything you want to add to the Green Hornet?
No, but speaking of reruns when you were a kid, actually it wasn't reruns when you were a kid, I'm going to be honest here. Traveling news from the world of growing pains.
Yes.
Do you know that Boner's missing?
No.
Boners to Bone is missing.
Yeah.
And he was depressed, and he went to Vancouver before
he's
got
He's got all that growing pains money. What's he depressed about?
As we were saying before the show, his father is Chekhov from Star Trek.
Yeah. So if you're out there, internet, and you see Boner,
help him out.
Help him get back on.
I wonder if he has Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. So anyhow.
Nobody knows who Boner is.
Oh, they know.
They don't know.
They know. The kids know. They've got the ABC family. They know what's on during the day.
Rumor. Do you have your $4.99 ready?
It's iPad time.
Yeah, here, iPad pre-order starting this week. That's the big rumor.
Maybe tomorrow. It's a Tuesday.
So what do you think? Think that's going to happen?
Well, you know.
Do you think they'll take pre-orders? I mean, they didn't take pre-orders for the phone, right?
Well, they did. No, they did on the last one, the 3GS.
Oh, they did. Okay.
It's a tough call. There's really no reason not to take pre-orders because they don't need to be activated. So, but if you thought there were millions of people interested, maybe there's value in having everybody lined up again. But if you go that route and people aren't lined up,
then it looks bad.
then it looks bad. Yeah. So I think they'll probably just take pre-orders, and they couldn't take pre-orders because it wasn't cleared through the FCC. So I got to think as soon as it's through that last
So you think they're going to take pre-orders for all available models?
Yep.
Okay.
As soon as they can, take the pre-orders, ship them out, get them on, get yours on Amazon through our Amazon link, and that'll be great.
But remember, if we band together and decide not to buy them for a few months, they may lower the price.
They might anyhow.
Yeah.
We've learned. They might lower the price. They might change the name, although I wouldn't hold my breath on that. All right. Did I do that?
That was me. Speaking of superheroes,
yes.
I see you have Spider-Man. What written down there?
Spider-Man comics sold for I think $1 million.
Oh, really?
A series 1, an issue 1.
Issue 1.
You don't have that one.
I don't. I think my mother threw that one away.
What are you gonna do? These are old. They're gathering dust. You need to get out and meet some girls.
Yeah, that worked out well.
I'm told that I'm going to lateral part of this to you. This is a twofer. It's appropriate that we have story. We call them the twins. These stories.
Yeah.
First of all, Apple hates boobies. You say.
That's what I hear. They're not big on the boobs.
Apparently, the App Store they've been getting rid of wobble eye boobs. You know, we had farting boobs a couple weeks ago.
Can't get that now. It's
on the double tap. I'm getting a collector's. I have that. I have the beer one that disappeared. iPint, and that Amp energy drink one, score before you whatever. So I'm actually trying to create the perfect. I'm curating. You're
going to create like a museum
collection
of lost iPhone apps.
Lost apps.
So what's the story now? Apple is cracking down on overly sexualized.
Well, when we first heard this, it seemed like it was just the boob apps, as it were. But now apparently over 5,000 apps have been removed. I think iPod NN is where we first got this story, and it's interesting because apps, like there's one app that's a swimsuit catalog. Gizmodo was talking about this. It's gone. But Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition, top selling app.
Yeah.
Coincidence? iPad, Time, Sports Illustrated for the iPad.
Well, here's my thought on it. Like when I first heard the story, it's weird. My first thought was, well, that's good because, I mean, a lot of those apps, the boobs, the farting boobs, it's just garbage.
They're bad apps.
So I'm like, well, whatever. They're getting rid of the junk.
Right.
But then I heard. Then there were some games they pulled. They pulled a game that was like, I think Daisy Dukes it was called, where there was a female character killing zombies or something, but because she was wearing a thong, they pulled the game. So then I stepped back for a second. I'm thinking, well, are they going too far? Like if first it's boobs they don't like, then do they start pulling games that are overly violent?
Right.
Are the zombie games next to go, or games with foul language, or apps with foul language gone?
It's tough. It's tough because some folks have said, hey, it's Apple's store. They can do what they want to do. Walmart can choose to sell whatever
they want.
They
can.
But that's true. But the problem is if I don't like the game that Walmart has, I can go somewhere else. And if I have an iPhone, I can't go somewhere else. I can't go. Maybe they should license. Maybe they should let there be one other seedy store for these.
Well, it just
apps.
seems like they need to have better parental controls on the App Store. Now, I don't think they should open it up to just like porn, but they should certainly. You should have like an R-rated section and.
I don't know. I don't know if that's what this is about, or if this is looking for ways to get rid of the bad apps, the crappy apps. I don't know.
Because there's plenty of crappy apps that don't have boobs in them.
That's just the start. Yeah. They'll start with the boobs. They'll go from there. I also collector's item. I have the unofficial Pillsbury Doughboy.
That's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's been gone, but I have it.
Because you could touch his boobs?
Because it was probably. Because it was a ripoff. It wasn't licensed.
Oh, okay.
But I'm getting a collector's item. And you know what digital collectibles are worth?
Pennies. Well, you're also thinking, you're not just thinking about getting the iPad, you're thinking about getting the HP Slate, I hear.
And the Dell 5,
yes,
i5.
So HP announces that they're going to undercut the iPad in terms of price.
That HP, I get a full OS on that, correct?
That's you get Windows? Some sort of version of Windows 7, yeah. And they say it will cost less than the $629 Apple version, the version with the 3G.
With Wi-Fi and 3G on this. Yeah. Well,
I don't know. They showed, Bomber showed the HP
poorly,
Slate.
yes.
Didn't seem to... I mean, if you think the iPad was kind of like, this looked really bad.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But, I mean, you know, again, you would have Flash, you would have Hulu, you would have a lot of things on there that you won't necessarily have on the iPad.
But at this point, I mean, wouldn't you just get a notebook, a Windows notebook at that point? I mean, the iPad sort of offers a different experience.
You know, if Carly Fiorina was still at HP, she was the mastermind behind the HP iPod.
Yep.
There would just be an HP iPad.
Yeah, she knew how to. She had Steve's number. She knew how to work him.
Well, we won't speculate on how that all came together. Let us know what you think at TDL Live is where you can reach us. Okay. Hey.
Yeah.
Tell us about StarCraft.
You're asking the wrong.
No, this was a request during Pop Torrent.
I honestly don't know much about StarCraft 2. I know the StarCraft 2 beta just came out. I don't know if it came out for the Mac or not.
I wouldn't think so.
Very popular game. Probably one of the most popular PC games next to like World of Warcraft. You know,
you're saying it has a global following.
Yeah, big in like the Asian markets, Korean markets. You know, they have these huge tournaments over there where they televise them, and the winner of the tournament is treated like, you know, people know his name in public. But I don't know. I hear it's good.
So they're treated much like we are here.
Yeah. So other than that, I'm not a big StarCraft player. I've never played the game. I've never seen the game, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you got? Fair
Sorry.
enough. Great. I think we did a good job.
Well, I'm going to lateral this to you. This is
what do we got?
Right up your alley.
Verizon's going to let you do Skype calling over 3G.
That's it.
That's it.
It's a lot of words just for that.
Well, it is, and that's always how it is, right? But so basically, their app. This is also leftover, I think, from last week. They're allowing 3G Skype over 3G, much like AT&T begrudgingly did with Skype after the whole FCC inquiry and all that stuff. So
That's it.
that's it. That's all I got. You go ahead. You go again. That wasn't fair.
So you don't want to tell me about your Facebook?
That's the big finish.
No. So I don't know if you knew this, but Google's evil.
Okay.
But they're not so evil that Apple won't take $100 million a year from them.
Now, who's saying Google's evil? I need some names.
Your
Is
buddy.
This just you?
Well, Steve said, you know, or not publicly, but privately at the employees only meeting that Google
Town hall
meeting that Google's evil, or that the don't be evil mantra
BS.
is BS.
Yeah.
Yes. But according to this was from McNN, according to Silicon Alley Insider, they're saying that their partnership with Google to allow Google to be the search provider on the iPhone and on the Mac desktop nets Apple about $100 million a year. So I mean, there has been talk that they might move to Bing, and maybe there's some negotiations with Microsoft. But Steve said Google is evil, but they'll still take the money.
We'll take the money. We'll take the money. It's such a small amount of money in the scheme of what Apple makes now, you know?
Yeah.
Wow. Who is really evil then? You have to wonder. Huh. Well, anyhow. We're coming up on that Facebook rant very quickly. So, word broke, this comes from, you spend a lot of time on PC World.
Yeah, a lot of time.
That Jobs, working along with Walter Isaacson, who previously
You got a prop here.
has authored Benjamin Franklin, An American Life by Walter Isaacson, available on Amazon. Just go to thedigitalifestyle.tv/Amazon. I should point I haven't read this.
You haven't read that.
No.
This is a prop.
It's just a prop book. Don't be fooled. But anyhow, supposedly the rumor has it that Jobs will be working with Walter Isaacson to create an in-depth examination of his life and his time at Apple and everything in between. Now, every time someone tries to write a book about Steve and a biography, he gets all worked up, won't cooperate,
Calls them,
throws a
threatens
fit,
them.
tries to get it canceled. So what does this mean?
Well,
Say it. Say it.
It makes you wonder about his health again.
There you go.
Unfortunately, that's what pops up in my head. I don't know.
And I've had that concern, since the launch of the iPad, and maybe they didn't want to launch, they didn't want to commit to being at Macworld because they didn't know where Steve's health would be in a year, and they didn't know where the product would be.
Yeah.
So that's all we're saying. It's just It's strange. Maybe he's just maybe in his older age now. He's thinking, you know what? I've had a hell of a ride.
Or maybe he'll just retire soon, and this would be a perfect time to, you know, you probably want to announce the retirement and then, you know, give it maybe a year, and then when the year rolls around, you leave, and around the same time, you know, the book comes out.
Hey, I don't want to sound like a grumpy Gus here about Apple, but I've said it before. The rumors used to be a phone. Apple's going to work on a phone. Okay, phone's out there.
Yeah.
The rumor was a tablet. Apple's going to work on a tablet. Tablet's out there.
Hovercraft.
Other than putting the Apple TV guts on the back of a TV, there's not much left in the pipeline as far as things that people have been saying for years. Oh, Apple's going to do this, and I just wonder if you are Steve, do you say, you know what, this might be a good time to transition?
Go out on top.
Go out on top.
Yep.
Let the new kid, if they want to mess with that Web 2.0 and put up an Apple Twitter feed and all that, let them do it. I'm out.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're on something there.
I might be. What do you think? Let us know at TDL Live, or if you're not in a position to chat, some folks say they watch at work. You can also call and leave a message, but if you can't do that either, you can send us an email, feedback@thedigital.tv. What do you got?
I thought maybe they were tied together. So while you were also gone,
yes,
out there in sunny San Francisco, the Zune phone, or the Win 7 phones, debuted.
I have to correct you on one thing. It was a wet, foggy San Francisco. But anyhow, so Windows 7.
Windows 7
mobile.
Windows. What's
Mobile
the Windows 7 phone series? I think is the
Okay.
horrible name. Horrible name.
Okay.
So they showed this device off in Spain, I think it was. Looks
Mobile,
kind of like they've taken Windows Mobile has been doing too well.
Right.
So
breaking news.
So they're taking everything you knew about Windows Mobile, throwing it out the window, starting over from scratch. It's an all touchscreen device. They're not going to make the device, but they're going to partner with hardware manufacturers, and has sort of a Zune-like interface. It promises integration with Xbox and with Facebook, of course, and Twitter, and has the Zune Music store on it. The interface looks kind of slick. Looks nothing really like what you would expect from Microsoft.
Well, unless you're an Xbox person.
Yeah,
right?
it looks like it's designed by the guys that did the Zune and the Xbox. It doesn't look like a Windows.
Now, maybe I'm just a crotchety old man, but what I didn't like was, like, say you were looking at your pictures, it would say, like, Icture. Because the whole stylistic interface, that bothers me.
I mean, it looks very slick. I mean, we'll have to see how usable it is.
Right.
The whole idea of integrating with Xbox was kind of exciting to me, but on the other hand, the App Store and Apple has sort of cornered the market on like mobile games, at least in this country, you know. And the phone's these Windows phones they're saying aren't going to come out till Christmas time or fall, next fall.
Did we get any ballpark pricing on these?
No, I mean you would guess they'd be competitive with iPhone and Android phones.
Here's what I'm thinking: the way maybe Microsoft could make this work, and if you're Microsoft, take some notes because you need it. It would be if you marketed this like, let's say, Call of Duty, and then there's Call of Duty Mobile, and it's only on this device.
Yeah, I mean, if they leveraged, here's the thing, like the only thing that really excited me about the phone, I mean, the interface was cool, but it was the idea of like having Xbox Live integration, actually having games tied in. But, Microsoft could leverage their partners, and they obviously are very successful with the Xbox and say, hey, why don't you just not only make the game for the console, but make like a spin-off game for the phone?
Right.
But they're still so far behind the App Store, and there's so many games and applications. And now, not all the games on the App Store are great, but there's still really a lot of good games. They're so far behind, and by the time this phone comes out in the fall, you're going to have the next iPhone, the next iPhone OS.
Right. But I think maybe their wedge where they get in there is, maybe teenage kids who are their parents are gonna buy them one device. They've already got an Xbox. They know those games. They love those games, and they're like, "Oh, I want to take this with me. Can we get a Windows?"
Yeah,
it's gonna be a terrible name. Can I get a Windows Phone 7 series?
I mean, it looks like I said, it
from
looks
HTC? Cool.
I think they got a huge uphill battle. I think it's exciting. I mean, at least there's some more competition in the mobile space.
I say, and maybe the iPad's it. I've said this before on this show. What Apple should do is get together with all the other tech companies, have a little huddle, and just start pushing something they know isn't going to work. Because whatever they do, Microsoft does it. And maybe it's maybe it's tablet computing this time around. And Microsoft will be like, well, hell, we better get back into that. And it's all a red herring to get Microsoft to go off.
Well, the one thing I will say about the Microsoft phone is when I saw in the interface, if you take a look at the interface, it seems like because it sort of pulls data from like your Facebook account and your pictures, and it's constantly like updating on its own. And it's sort of making use of just like the home screen, even when you're not using it. It seems like that's something they should have probably done with the iPad. Where you have all this real estate, and there's like nothing going on.
Hey, for 4.0 software, 4.0 software, which may ship before the device. Who knows? Apple Store wedding. Couple got married.
You've met a couple of young ladies in the Apple Store.
Yeah, I did.
Remember you.
That's true. They got married. They said "I do," little I-D-O, at the Fifth Avenue store in New York on Valentine's Day. It was one of those flash mob weddings where everybody comes in and the store didn't know about
so
it.
they wasn't. Because that's what I was thinking. Like, is Apple really going to? So now, do you think there's going to be like an internal memo going around saying, "Do not allow weddings"?
Stop weddings.
So they ran in. They had like someone read the vows, and they just ran out.
They ran out. They had the rings on iPods to present the rings. They did the rings. That was it. Done. Take the pictures. They were out of there. Like us. But I got to talk about Facebook. I think I'm leaving Facebook this week.
You say that every week.
It has nothing to do with privacy. I just think that it cheapens the relationships you really have, and it's just such a time suck the rest of the time where you're tangentially following people that you don't really know or you don't have any connection to, or you're looking at their babies.
Sick of the baby.
I'm going to ban baby pictures.
Or you're reading their crazy political comments.
Or it's someone that you met along the way that you worked with even on a daily basis, and you learn more about them than you really wanted to. And you realize, oh, I could have gone through life and always had this perception of this person. Now I have this perception. And so I'm not going to let it ruin.
Well, what I was telling you is, and I've had some of the same feelings, but I don't think I'm ready to jump off the boat yet. But I was saying you could just not check the Facebook status. Maybe, if someone sends you a request something, then you log in. Otherwise, it's just kind of there. And if somebody needs to find you, they can find you through Facebook.
Why? Why? If people know where to find me.
They can find you right here every Monday.
Every Monday night at 9. 6 Central. 6 Pacific.
Well, I think you can disable your account for a while, then you can re-enable it and without having to...
See, but I don't want to be that person. I know there's these people who go away for a week, and then they're back. Right. And it's like this whole drama thing because like they put up their status.
I'm leaving.
And it's like everybody then is like, oh no, don't leave. And then they don't leave or they come right back. If I do leave, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blog explaining why I'm leaving on the site. And it's going to be weird because I'll have to link to that blog while I'm still in Facebook so that everybody can get to that link.
Before it's activated.
And then wait a couple days and then deactivate.
You should have like a vote. People vote.
I might actually, maybe I'll have you post it. Maybe you'll be my proxy to post it and then people can see why I left.
All right.
Perfect. Wonderful. Next week, we'll talk more about the Green Hornet.
I hope not. More about StarCraft, though.
We'll try to find out a little bit more about StarCraft. And a couple product reviews coming up this week, so isn't that exciting? And what's this show? Pop Torrent.
Every Wednesday. Right?
Wednesday at 9. I'm trying something new here. See what you think of this. It sounds like something from an 80s local news thing. If it's 9, it's live. Because we're live at 9 on Mondays.
Okay.
And 9 on Wednesdays.
Sure, that's
2 days right there. But if it was 5 days...
What about the rest of the week, though?
Well, we'd have to do something every night.
Well, you have time on your hands.
Yeah, I have lots of time on my hands. But then, of course, people would feel slighted, like Pacific, because it's 6. And then what we're going to say, if it's 6, it's live. So, anyhow, thanks again, everybody. And we'll see you again next Monday at 9 o'clock. Bye-bye.